Thank you, Steve. What's up, Myron? What's up, Fresh?
What's up, man?
Quick question, man. I've been not filing taxes because I'm a real American, and I've been just surviving off, selling crypto a little here and there. I send USDC to my, account for Crypto.com prepaid Visa card. I also, send a little Bitcoin here and there to my Cash App.
You a finesser, bro. You a finesser,
at times
dog.
I trade. I trade, and I don't have any like a lot of capital gains sell like a lot of dollar amounts. Is there, so my question is there like a price limit to like let's say I sell 150,000 of crypto, then I should file for capital gains, or should I file for capital gains? And even though I sell 30,000, 40,000 in a year.
Okay, so let's start with one. One, it says you haven't filed in a few years. Did I hear you correctly? You have not filed any taxes?
That is true. That is true, Sir Steve. I haven't filed.
And it sounds like you're a renegade. It sounds like you're off the grid and you're working on the crypto stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that do that stuff on the crypto. So so don't attend any of the same seminars that Wesley Snipes did, because they didn't work. So, no, at the end of the day, listen, the IRS is doing what they call hidden treasure. What they're doing is just compiling data, and when the crypto market was down, they took they skimmed off a lot of talents off of there, of guys that they brought in and they hired because those guys were not making money, or they were not getting, there was no projects for them to be working on. And they brought that talent into the IRS, and what they're doing is they're building tools. They're also implementing AI. So you got to remember, everything is out on the internet. Everything is accessible. Everything is on a digital ledger. Everything can be traced. Wallet in, wallet out. You onboard into the crypto market, into the crypto exchanges, and you offboard, and you have your on ramps and your off ramps. All of those tools, whether they're in some jurisdiction, the server's, in China, let's say, or it's in somewhere, in the Netherlands, or some offshore island or something like that. What's going to happen basically is those exchanges and like the Tornado Cash wallet, right, was one example. They just put pressure on those people that make that software. Then they basically fold and they give up all the information, and then everything is traceable to a certain extent. So it's just a matter of time before, they're going to go after the big fish. So you're probably not one of them, unless you're doing millions and billions of things. So yeah, you're going to fly under the radar for now until the tools get better and better. And then when they get better, then you're going to have to figure out, what you have to do. But like I said, they have talent within the IRS. They're just compiling data and they're putting tools together. And then what they're going to do is they will put pressure on those exchanges, and those exchanges want to make money. They want to be operating. They want to be shut down, because every time, somebody uses that exchange and they're doing transactions on there, those exchanges make a lot of money. So you have, like, Coinbase is very compliant. Coinbase will give their customer information if the government puts pressure on them, and they have. So, you got to think of it that way.
I definitely do have like those real tax documents and forms of like a certain amount crypto that I sold from Square, Cash App, and Coinbase, but so this current administration looks like they're partnering up with the central banks, and they might even go to no tax on crypto. So this next question is, can I file this late filing since a handful of years ago? Can I just file 2026 once the new crypto law is friendly, and can I just do a bulk like a bulk filing?
No,
session?
It doesn't work that, because what you are is a cash basis filer. So any of those transactions that occurred in whatever calendar year those occurred in, the IRS will construe those as having to be reported in that particular year on that particular year of tax return. You can't say, all right, we'll bring it forward now. But now we have good preferential treatment, and I'm going to decide to slip it through now. It doesn't work that way. You have to go with what happened back then, because you were in constructive receipt of that money. And that's what the IRS, that's what they call constructive receipt. It happened in that particular calendar year. The rules that were in play at that particular year apply to you. So no, you cannot you cannot bring those into, a better, IRS treatment year. I wish, that would be nice, but no, it just doesn't work that way.
Steve, real quick, will they charge him back tax for not paying or no?
Well, only if he's flagged. Based on, there haven't been a lot of people that have been flagged with the crypto because the IRS is it's like a huge, massive cruise ship that's got to make a turn in a small little port. It's going to take forever for them. They will get there eventually. So a lot of guys are going to get away with a lot of shit, and they have been. But then there'll come a time when, they're going to make examples of certain people, and then everybody's going to be, oh, shit, I don't want to be that guy. And people will start to comply. That's kind of the way that they operate.
Got it.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I've been mitigating this risk and low cash amount. Would you say like a cash amount like more than $20,000 a year or $50,000 a year? I think the taxable amount in California used to be like $16,000 a year, or for like this would be like, I don't know, capital gains, I would say. I left California since then. I'm in a different state, the great state of Colorado, America's mountain, Pikes Peak.
They're like, you're at, you guys have up to 13% tax rate. It's one of the highest, I think, in all the states in the union. I'm not sure what your question was as far as like you're saying like, oh, like it's almost like I think the question was kind of asking like, oh, should I deposit like, $9,900, like that bank rule where like over anything over 10,000, they got to like, make a special report to the IRS type of thing. Is that what you're asking me?
No, my question is like if the capital gains that I've sold, like the proof, the data from like Square or Coinbase or crypto, these exchanges, right, that know and notify the IRS, like if it's less than 30,000, 40,000, like I'm just a small fish, like they're not going to come after me, but if they do, like,
don't. Should I? If any exchange that you used filed a 1099, I think it's going to be a 1099. Oh my goodness, there's going to be a special form they're rolling out. I think it's coming out next year. Yeah. Once they file that, the IRS puts that in your transcript, and they're going to look for it when you file your return. They're going to match that. That's called 1099 matching. So W-2s are matched, 1099s are matched, 1099-Rs are matched, 1099 NECs are matched, 1099 MISCs, like all these versions of 1099s all get filed with the Internal Revenue Service. They have that. They have who gave it to you, what their tax ID number was, how much they paid you, what their name was, what your name was, what your tax ID number is. That's in the transcript. If you don't file, the IRS, after a certain amount of time, they may not do it year 1, year 2, year 3, but typically around year 3, year 4, they'll take those 1099s, and what they do is they file what's called a substitute tax return for you. And what that is they deem you a single taxpayer. They give you no expenses against that income. They just give you they report all of those 1099s as income, and then they give you the standard, deduction, and then they calculate to see if you would owe. And then they'll send you a notice saying, hey, we noticed that you had these 1099s. We noticed that you didn't file, but, we did it for you. So here you go. And by the way, you owe $2,000 or you owe $5,000. And then since you didn't pay, and it's a substantial under-reporting because it's going to be, you're 100%, you missed your income because you reported 0. So it's more than 25%. And we're going to add, it's going to be, it's going to be almost double for that. Plus you're going to, you didn't pay on time. And then we had all this interest that accrued too. So now that $5,000 comes out to be, $15,000 and payout. Mm-hmm. And I've got tons of taxpayers that happens to.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sir Steve, for this wisdom, man. Looks like I got to reconcile with the relationship with old Uncle Sam. Thank you, Fresh. Thank you, Myron. Thank you, Mo. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
No problem, man.
Yeah, happy.
You got some work to do, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem.